All right, and Charlie left, so.
That's all right.
All right, well then, welcome everybody to our March 11th general meeting and our business meeting. It seems like we just did this not that long ago, and here we are again. So, I guess, how do you want to start it as far as the business meeting? Do you want to put that in the beginning, in the middle, the end? What?
To the beginning and get it
Um,
over with.
didn't Charlie put out an agenda?
He did.
He did, but it was only for the business meeting, not for the whole agenda.
Oh,
So Charlie, what do
That's,
you think? When should we do the business meeting agenda?
No,
You want to do it now, get it over with?
please, yes.
Okay, very good. Well then, we're going to start that. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. Um, the time is 7:16. Does anyone need to renew their membership in order to vote? Okay, I take it everybody has. Okay, Steve sent a ballot out with SurveyMonkey. Um, I'm going to say a few things and then you have time to go vote if you haven't voted already. Okay, so our list of board members and board officers and directors, the candidates, everybody should know, but the president, myself, treasurer Steve, quartermaster Steve, vice president of programming is vacant as Ken's not going to run, vice president of publicity Kim, secretary Charlie, and then our out in the world extras are Carol and Bob.
Did we
Okay.
get any information from Ken about whether he wanted to be a plain old director still or not? And if not,
no.
we don't.
Yes, we did get information, and no, he doesn't want to run again. He's having life issues, he said.
Okay, thank you.
All
I
right.
hope he's okay.
All right. Is there any other nominations of people who want to run for any particular office?
There is a write-in spot under each candidate.
If you have someone. Okay, so ballots need to be completed and submitted via SurveyMonkey. So I'm going to start with my president's report of our topics that we did last year. So we started in April, the new board with alternatives to social media. May was Google Arts and Calendar with Charlie.
That's
June was
arts. That's arts and crafts.
Arts and Crafts. Okay, I guess I
You
You,
I,
you, had a,
I wrote it
keep
wrong.
it.
That's
you had
all.
a few of the letters right.
I know.
Right.
June was Apple Worldwide Developer Conference. July 9th was our picnic. August, the State of AI with Nick Francesco. September was new Apple products. October was Chuck Joyner and Adam Engst with tidbits. November was our holiday gift ideas. December, we had a Q&A and we had dinner at La Bella Vita. January was tax aid with Ken. February was Apple TV with Steve. And then we'll lead us up to March, which will be our new Apple products, Claude AI with Rick, and then our business meeting. All right, so that's my report. Steve, treasurers and quartermasters.
Alrighty. Let me share my. Where is it? There it is. All right. So for 2025, we brought in $440, and we spent $236. So we were $203 positive for the year.
We're not seeing your screen yet, Steve.
Oh,
Okay. Here
I
it
can
comes.
see it.
Okay.
This is the treasurer's report you're looking at?
Yeah.
yeah.
I just see
Um,
something that says apple cider on it. It's the mug.
bring Nicole back here. Okay. You are presenting. Show my screen.
Are you using Chrome, Rick?
Yeah, I'm using Chrome. Yeah. There, now I see it. I was just running
That's
slow for a
interesting.
minute.
All right. Okay, so we were $203 positive for the year. Our two biggest expenses are the AppleCare on the computer and our picnic, which was down a little bit this year because we didn't go overboard on a lot of the food, so we didn't have much left over, which was good. And that compares to 2024, where we brought in $350 and we spent $300. So we were only positive 40 for the year. So we're what is that? Five times better than the previous year. And we currently have about $1,200 in cash. We have our computer asset, which is on a 5-year depreciation. So it's currently valued at $419.
Steve,
Yes.
I'm not seeing the pages progress as you mentioned this.
Yeah,
Also,
we're just seeing the first page.
don't see your thumbnails on the left side either, like I usually do, I guess.
I'm sharing a window. It should give the whole window. All right, so we'll stop sharing that window, and I'll share the next window. Just got to find which window it is. There it is. Share. All right, so this is 2024. So we brought in 350, so it's $100, about $100 lower than the previous year. We spent 300, which was about $50 higher than the previous year. And so we were $42 positive for the year.
That's the year 2024.
It's 2024, right?
Okay.
Automatically show. So something. All right, it's still. Bring the call back here. Okay, thank you. All right, now is everybody seeing it?
I don't think so.
The 2024.
Yeah,
I don't see-
we're seeing your second page.
For
Yep.
whatever reason, I don't
Yep,
see
it's
the.
finally up.
Yeah, but yeah, okay, now I see the dates at the top, and it's what I'm getting is the year 2024.
Right.
Uh,
Comparing that to 2025.
Right, right.
So we were 200 positive for 2025 and 40 positive for 2024. So we're a lot better this year than we were last year.
Not much money in.
Nope, it's mostly dues because we don't have the big sales at the picnics anymore.
Yeah, well, we're still doing pretty good.
Yep.
And that's because Steve has made a lot of economies that were worth it.
Yeah, we cut a lot of expenses.
Yep.
I don't know why it doesn't show that same window. There's a different tab in the same window. It should work.
Yeah, we can see you clicking on a tab, but then it just never comes up.
I'm going to call back here. It says this is something new in Google Meet, I think. Because it never did this last time. It always showed me what I needed to. There. So now you should be getting the current assets.
I got no date on the top of it. There we go.
There you go. January 2026.
I figured that was, well, I can scroll rather than trying to shrink it to fit.
That's all right. I'm being fussy, I guess. Unnecessarily.
Alrighty. So we have no major bills coming up. The AppleCare renews in November, so we don't have to worry about that until then. So we're still in pretty good shape. We have no major expenses, so we don't have to worry too much about paying major bills.
How old is the computer now?
4 years. It's a 2021 M1 Pro.
And how much longer do you think we can put up with it before we need to get a new one?
Many more years. The M1 is still pretty darn fast.
Okay, is
Any,
that it for the
yeah,
treasurer's report?
and,
Or
and yeah, any other questions about the Treasury?
No, except, do we have to approve the report like we do in the regular board meeting? I don't know.
I don't think so. You printed it out.
Well,
Well,
I think
that's
probably
We,
still
we have to approve everything at
approve it.
the end.
Robert's Rules of
Okay.
Order, yeah.
We approve it all at the end when we're done. We're not done yet.
All right.
Okay. All right. Quartermaster's report?
So the computer is our major asset. We also still have the PA system and the old projector that we haven't used since the before times because we've been doing remote meetings. The projector is out of date. It's only 1024 by 768, and so even before that, we were using the school's projector in the school, so we didn't use our projector.
Does our
I don't
projector even work anymore?
I don't think it does. I think you looked at it this summer and I don't think it was working.
There was that time we tried to meet at the church, and it didn't work, and so Rick ran and got his. That might have been a blown bulb, and the bulbs were like $200 for the thing, but it's already so far out of date, it's not worth getting a replacement bulb for, and there's very little need to use it.
Yeah. And we're not claiming it as an asset, so.
So what would you do? Cycle it at this point?
Yep.
Probably.
We got a lot of
Yes.
those in our garage.
If we ever get the second garage door fixed, we're going to have to recycle a lot of things to be able to put a car in there.
All that stuff from Dennis and everything too. And
Well, the stuff from Dennis came from Tom.
oh yeah, but still, we got all the collection of junk from everybody. So I think it can all go on to its computer heaven or junk
Some
heaven.
somebody called Soundbites 2 weeks ago and looking for the users group because they have several boxes of junk they want to get rid of. Not junk.
Oh no.
Collectible Apple things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So since you're done with that, our meeting is suspended.
Well,
And
do we,
no, wait. So the meeting is going to be suspended for a break.
at what
We
time?
we just
Right
started.
now,
We don't.
Why are we
7:28.
breaking it?
Yeah, we don't need a break yet. We
7:28.
just started.
This is only for the business meeting agenda.
Yeah, I know, but I agree with the other people that unless there's anything, I don't know when Steve will have all the votes in to
Well, I
announce it.
think that's the only reason for the break is to allow people to
that's-
vote.
Right.
That's right, and we used to do it on paper, yada yada.
So, and you wanted to have it with people who are, attending.
Yeah, so
The
if everyone
meeting.
here has voted, we don't need
Well,
to really
yes.
have the break.
Right. Okay. So, has everybody here voted?
I have 8 responses.
Okay, that's 8 people that I
That's
counted.
everybody.
So that's everybody. All right. Well, then I guess it says announcement of election results.
Suspend the suspension, all right.
Did we all win our seats?
Hang on a second. I'm trying to find something. I had a link earlier and I can't find it again. All right, let's go back to SurveyMonkey and summary. So the president surely received 100% of the votes.
Okay.
Vice President, other, received a vote, but it doesn't say who they voted for other.
Well, it was Vice
That-
President of
Done that myself.
Publicity.
If that was for VP of programs,
Yeah.
it's secretly Claude, but I didn't want to add
Okay.
it to the ballot.
Yeah.
because we'd be short on a quorum when we met, so
Yeah.
unless we turned him on. Yeah.
There it is, Claude AI. Yep. Yeah. Vice President of Publicity, Kim received 100% of the vote.
Okay.
Secretary, Charlie received 100% of the vote.
Oh, yay.
Treasurer, me, received 100% of the vote. And directors, both Bob and Carol received 100% of the vote.
Okay.
Now, just quickly, did anybody actually write in Claude?
Yeah, on your other, well, on somebody's other, it does say Claude AI for
That was me.
Vice President of Programming.
Rick.
All right, Rick, you're it now.
No, I voted for Claude AI.
So you have to program Claude to do it.
You just ask it for topics.
Yeah. Somebody said that because Claude is Perplexity, right? And they're a French company, it should be Claude.
Claude?
Claude. Gotta pronounce it the French way.
Claude.
I don't know French. So it really is, huh? No kidding.
Okay.
Claude has to pay his dues.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
What's that?
Okay.
Claude has to pay Zeus?
His dues.
Dues.
So,
No, Claude. No, this is Claude is from Perplexity is from in San Francisco. So why was that guy saying it was French?
Oh, the names.
The name
Yeah,
Claude
yeah.
Name itself
is
is
changed.
French.
Yeah.
Jean-Claude.
Yep. Oh, somebody posted a picture the other day of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Steven Seagal, Chuck Norris, Jean-Claude Van Damme, all the big action heroes of the 80s, and they're all ancient. And Steven Seagal
yeah.
got heavy.
Well, that was 40 years ago.
Yep.
All right. Do we have any old business?
For the board, right? The business meeting. Yeah.
Yes. Charlie, do we have any old business?
none that I can think of.
Okay. Do we have any new business? Other than this meeting, I don't think we do, right?
Right.
All right. Who wants to make a motion to adjourn our business meeting?
No, hold on a minute.
Okay.
Earlier you said that we had to approve everything at the end
Well,
of the
first
meeting.
we have to make a motion, then we approve it.
All right, so what
No,
is it
not a
with-
motion to adjourn. I
What
was
is it
asking
with-
about I would like to speak here, please. I was asking about whether we needed to have a motion and approve the treasurer's report, and your response was, we approve everything at the end of the meeting.
Well, I don't think so because the business report is separate from the business meeting, I think, then.
Eh?
A regular meeting plus the business meeting should be two separate things, even though they are the same. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? To save myself any further brain damage, I think I'll just let the whole thing slide.
Okay.
I've never heard of that before, but okay.
No, I hadn't either. So don't worry about it.
I'm just going by what you printed out, Charlie.
I didn't print anything on there about approving the treasurer's report.
Nope, you didn't.
So that's what we won't do. Very good.
Okay. So now it's a motion to adjourn the business meeting. Who wants to do that?
I will. There's no second.
Nope.
All in
And then-
favor?
All in favor?
I
All right, we're approved. And the
Time.
time is 7:35.
Well, that wasn't too painful.
No? Okay, So now we can go back to our regularly scheduled programs.
What happened to approving everything at the end?
We approve the business
So
meeting.
wait a minute, Rick, please, that's just what I brought up. Come on.
And she skipped right by it.
Well,
We
no,
went
we
right,
hashed
we
it
went
out.
through it.
I
We,
don't,
we
Oh, okay,
basically-
okay, I take it back. You know why I'm thinking? Because I'm thinking we're having the business meeting per se, and we are not. Okay, so that was
We
my
were
fault.
having a business meeting.
Yes, but it's
We
not our
weren't
board
having a
meeting.
regular, we weren't having a regular board meeting, but we were
Yes.
having an annual business meeting.
Yes, but it doesn't say in here that there's approval for the treasurer's report.
If you're looking at what I wrote, no, it does not, and that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Okay,
I'm vote 100% for apathy, and we'll just go with that, right?
oh, okay, go with the flow.
if I could just speak for like 2 seconds.
Sure.
The only thing we approve is the minutes for the business meeting. We don't approve reports.
You don't have the minutes yet, but you'll have those at the board meeting.
Well, we should approve the minutes of last year's business meeting.
Oh my God.
We're getting crazy here.
Yeah. Hi, Frank. Welcome.
Yay.
Missed all the excitement.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so then I guess for our regular meeting then, Steve, you can start with what topic you want to.
Yep, we got a lot of news and new products. Or do you want to let Rick go first?
What do you want to do, Rick? You want to do your thing first, or you want to wait?
Trying to get my mic to come back on. I could go right now if you want, but
Okay.
I do need some help getting my keynote to show up in a window, and so I have my presentation notes off to the side that aren't shared. So do you know how to do that, Steve?
No, you can't. You share one.
Can't,
You share an entire window, or you don't share anything.
but Keynote allows you to have two windows. You can have a presentation window and
It's
a
one.
notes window.
Okay, then I don't know how to do that. The last time I used Keynote, it was all in one window.
Okay. So the other method I came up with is I can use two computers. I can have two versions of it.
One to
One
share
will
and one to
play the-
read. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's what we'll have to go with then. All right.
So you need a few minutes to set that up?
Yeah, if you want to stick around, everyone else I guess could take a break and we'll get our act together here. Maybe that makes sense.
Or I can start with some of the news while you're working on that. But you want to hear the news too, don't you?
Well, I need to know how to work with this, Steve.
Mhm.
I mean, I've never shared a screen or anything with Google Meet before, so this is
All right,
new.
well then, let's take 10 minutes? Is that good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's take a 10-minute break then, and while he gets himself situated, then we'll restart.
What I would do is ask Claude how to do it.
I asked Claude, he didn't give me a good answer. He seemed to think it could be done.
But that's as far as he would go.
Yep.
It would go. Sorry. Okay. Well, see you in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right, let me try it on my computer. Because the share button is in the middle center of the screen. It's a computer with an arrow pointing out.
Yeah, I see that.
And then you can pick a Chrome tab, a window, or your entire screen.
But it has to be a Chrome tab, not a Keynote tab.
Correct. It only works in Chrome. So you can share a window from an app or your entire screen.
How do you share a window from an app?
click the share button, pick window, and then pick the window you want to share.
All right, let me see if I can do that. This just says share screen.
Right. Oh, you don't have the window tab? Are you in Safari or Chrome?
I'm in Chrome.
Okay. So after you hit share screen, you should get the option of sharing a Chrome tab, a window, or the entire screen.
It says presentation
Allow.
starting.
So you picked a, oops, I just started one at my end. I didn't mean to do that. Cancel. I was trying to see what it did. Share oh, it is? Okay. Well, I'm Safari. Maybe that's why it's not right. Let me get out of Safari and go back to Chrome on the other window. Or you could send me the file, I can host it, and you can read it. But, so the only option you have is to share your entire screen?
Well, now it's asking me choose what to share with the meet.google.com, and I can have window or entire screen or Chrome tab.
Yep, click window.
So I've clicked window. It says to share your window, allow screen recording in Chrome system settings.
So you
Then
don't.
you'll need to restart Chrome.
So you don't have permission yet. So you have to go to system settings and give it permission.
All right. So I've clicked on system settings. And it's taking its sweet old time. Maybe I'll go there myself. It might be quicker. Chrome has its own settings too.
Yeah, but sharing the screen is system settings. And then privacy and security.
Oh, 20 years later.
All right, so yeah, that worked.
All right, so I'm in my system settings. I should go to
Privacy and security.
all right, privacy and security.
And then on the right, down to screen and system audio recording.
I think it's still taking its sweet old time about opening here. I think I'm running so many things. Processors having a tough time. All right. Allow applications from App Store. No, that's not it.
Scroll down most of the way, and you'll get to screen and system audio recording.
farther down. Hello. Screen and system audio recording.
Yep.
All right. Google Chrome. I see it. So
Yep.
just turn it on.
Turn it on. Yep.
Okay, that's on. Now what do I have to do?
Relaunch Chrome so that it well, try it. You can try it first without relaunching. So go back to Chrome and
No, it wants my password first to approve this.
yep, that makes sense.
All right. All right. So now back into Chrome. Requesting to bypass system. Yeah, I'll say allow. Okay. I chose what I wanted to share. What happens if I cancel it and try again? I think you're right. I think I've got to get out of Chrome and come back in.
Yeah, it makes sense. It needs to be relaunched
right.
now that it has permission.
Yep, I'll be back.
Anyone want to talk about Rick while he's gone? Anyone else see the new hardware announcements, or did it breeze right by us? It was a jam-packed week last week. Just like when we set up all our computers for network gaming back in the day. We were all computer professionals, and it still took an hour to get all the wires to work right.
Okay, progress is being made. I'll try to share a screen again. And I'll click on window. And now showing
I still can't get any
Claude
pictures, so I
presentation.
come in because I want to see what that chat stuff's about.
Okay.
Share that. See if that works. Can you see that?
Yes. Well, not yet. Right now it's just a. Okay, now it's a big purple window. And now, yep, now it's a presentation.
Okay. But yet I don't see it on ours. It says you are presenting to avoid an infinity mirror. Don't share your entire screen or browser window. Just share a tab or different window instead. Well, that's what I'm doing.
Right,
Why
but
is it complaining?
it doesn't know that. So is there something about move screen back here or something like that?
No.
Okay. So we're seeing it at our end. So
I'll
you
just say show my screen anyway and
Yeah.
see what happens.
you can go to the presentation and then run it.
Okay, that's looking a little better. Now I've got to get into the presentation itself, which I have. Where is my presenters window? Presenter display. What happens if I select that?
I don't know.
Does it split them?
We're still seeing the main presentation here.
Oh, okay. I'm seeing both now.
Good.
Okay, this might actually work. All right. So I'm doing a presentation on Claude AI. And you might want to be wondering what Claude is. Well, Claude is a conversational artificial intelligence assistant that you interact with through a chat interface. See if I can get it to progress to the next slide. Hello, slide number 2. Why isn't it progressing?
I wonder if it thinks it's a new window. Like I was having problems doing preview.
There's slide 2.
There we go.
It's
Yep.
like having a knowledgeable patient and tireless partner. Claude has been trained on an enormous body of human knowledge. Unlike a search engine, which gives you a list of links, it likes to take its sweet old time going from slide to slide, I'll tell you that much.
Rick,
Claude?
was this built in Claude or built in Keynote?
I used Keynote. Claude helped me out with it, though.
Yeah.
Claude engages with your specific situation. Claude is available through Anthropic's website. Let me show you how easy it is to get started. All you will need is an email address that you want to use to gain access. Enter your email address box in the box there where it says put email address here. Click the button labeled Sign into Claude AI. Check the box to agree to the consumer terms, acceptable use policy, and to confirm that you're at least 18 years of age. You can see I check the box. Here, I'll move this window up.
Did you read the policy?
Yeah. Click on this Create Account button. Ignore the co-work and code dialog boxes, as interacting with them will take you down the upgrade path even before you have tried Claude out. So instead, just click on the Continue button. You don't need the desktop app to get started. Once you decide you're really very happy with Claude, then you can always download the app later. So for now, just click on the skip button, which will allow you to use the website version. I'll zoom in at the bottom of this slide so you can see that better. Notice this button to help improve Claude has already been checked by default. It's best to uncheck it. That way your chats won't be used in any way to help improve Claude, so you will be protecting your privacy. Once it is unchecked, click on the I understand button below to make it continue. Claude will ask you by what name you would like to be called. In my case, I told Claude to just refer to me as Sir. I use Sir just to keep things yet a little more private. You'll be asked to select 3 topics of interest you would like to discuss. I selected coding and developing, writing and content creation, and design, create, and creativity before clicking on the Let's Go button. Claude then suggested 3 possible starting topics. Again, it's best to just ignore the suggestions, as you probably already have a question or topic you want to chat about. So just click on the small text at the bottom that reads, I have my own topic. Now, I don't know why they made this clickable text and not an obvious button. That seems like a poor web page design thing to me. Luckily, it's the last thing you'll click before you finally arrive at the Claude chat page. Just type your question or topic idea into the chat box and then watch as Claude will attempt to answer your question with almost lightning fast speed.
Almost lightning fast.
In my case, I decided to ask Claude about how long it would take to get to Mars using current technology. Here's the first page of its reply, which came up very quickly. You can see it talks about when Mars closest approaches and how to get there, how long it would take with current chemical rocket technology, and that the near future there's nuclear propulsion that would be shorter yet. And here's the second page. Notice the nice table it created to show the amount of time for the trip to Mars depending on which technology is used. So if they get that nuclear electric hybrid going on, which is experimental, they might get it down to 45 days. So what things can you do with Claude? I asked Claude to tell me the top 100 things it could do to help me. And in addition to the ways I thought I could use it, it thought of ways I hadn't even considered. I even found it useful for helping me to shop for electronic parts on the internet. I asked it to look up prices and to provide me with links to the products. It did that, and it saved me a lot of time from having to do all of that research myself. It wasn't perfect, but it was still better than what I could do on my own in that same amount of time. One of Claude's strongest suits is writing, whether you need a professional email drafted, a cover letter polished, a resume reviewed, or a full blog post written from scratch. Claude can do it. It can adapt its tone, formal or casual, technical or friendly, depending on what you need. It can write speeches, wedding toasts, product descriptions, newsletters, press releases, and marketing copy. And it's not just about generating new content. Claude can take something you've already written and make it better. It will catch grammar errors, improve sentence flow, tighten up wordy passages, and suggest stronger word choices. It's like having an editor on call at midnight who never gets tired. Claude is an exceptional research assistant. You can ask it to summarize a long document, explain a complex scientific concept in plain language, compare 2 products or approaches, or give you a deep dive into historical events. It's also a powerful learning tool. Students use it to study for exams through question and answer practice. Teachers use it to understand topics they're about to teach. Curious individuals use it to explore subjects they've always wanted to understand but never had the right guide for. For anyone who works with computers and software, Claude is an incredibly capable partner. It can write code in virtually any programming language: Python, JavaScript, SQL, C++, and dozens more. It even does live code and Swift. It can debug code you've written, explain what piece of code what it does, convert the code from one language into another, and suggest better ways to structure a program. Even if you're not a developer yourself, Claude can help you to generate scripts for automating repetitive tasks, creating queries to pull data from a database, or understand technical documentation that would otherwise be very difficult. In a business context, the applications are enormous. Claude can write business proposals, create meeting agendas, draft project plans, summarize meeting notes, generate job descriptions, write performance reviews, and create operating procedures. It can help you build FAQ pages for your website, write your company's About Us page, and create onboarding documentation for new employees. Think about how many hours professionals spend on those kinds of tasks every week. Claude doesn't replace human judgment, but it dramatically reduces the time it takes to get from the blank page to a solid first draft. Marketers and content creators have found Claude to be particularly powerful. It can write social media captions, suggest hashtags, generate advertising copy, draft product launch announcements, and brainstorm ideas for entire content calendars. It can write YouTube scripts, podcast outlines, and press releases. It can help you to develop brand voice and apply it consistently across different types of content. Claude is genuinely creative. It can write short stories, develop novel outlines, create detailed character backstories, compose poetry, write song lyrics, and build a kind of immersive world building lore that fantasy and science fiction writers need. It can write dialogue for scripts, develop video game storylines, and brainstorm ideas for films and TV series. For anyone who has ever stared at a blank page with writer's block, Claude is a remarkable collaborator. It doesn't replace the human creative voice, but it can spark ideas, suggest directions, and help you to get unstuck. Educators have found tremendous value in Claude. It can generate lesson plans, write quiz questions with answer keys, create study guides, simplify textbook content for younger students, and serve as an interactive tutor in subjects ranging from mathematics to history to foreign languages. For students, it can help with essay structure, thesis development, and homework problems. And unlike some resources that just give you the answer, Claude can walk you through the reasoning, which means students can actually learn from it rather than just copy from it. Claude is useful well beyond the professional world. It can help you plan a trip and build a travel itinerary, brainstorm gift ideas, write thank you notes, plan a party, draft a difficult personal message that you're not sure how to phrase, create a meal plan, find recipes based on what's in your refrigerator, and suggest home organization strategies.
Did you use AI to generate these images?
No, I didn't. Claude can explain medical conditions in plain language, help you to understand what prescription or diagnosis means, suggest workout plans, provide nutritional guidance, write mindful scripts, and help you to prepare questions to ask your doctor. It's important to note, and Claude itself will tell you this, that it's not a substitute for a licensed medical professional, but as a tool for understanding and preparation, it's quite good. Claude can explain financial concepts like budgeting, investing, and taxes in ways that are clear and accessible. It can help you build a personal budget, break down a lease or contract into plain English, explain different types of investments, and help you understand tax forms. Again, for major legal or financial decisions, a qualified professional should be consulted. Pardon me, I got to take a quick drink here. I'm getting dry. Businesses use Claude to draft customer service responses, create chatbot scripts, respond to online reviews professionally, and craft escalation messages. It helps ensure that when a situation is difficult, the response is thoughtful, clear, and on brand. Claude is available for your use 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Waiting for a slide to come up here. Claude is non judgmental. It will never state that you are being dumb or stupid. You can ask anything, and no idea is too small or too big. It's Keynote that's the problem right now. It's running really slow. Waiting for slide. Spinning beach ball. Any questions so far?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
It doesn't tell you that you're dumb or stupid. But Bill Maher was criticizing a lot of the AI that is constantly uh, telling people that they're so smart that it was a great question and basically kissing ass. And he really takes offense to that.
That's
Well,
that
he's
was
allowed to
in
do that.
that was in some business book because I see that with people, and Apple tries to train us to do that too. When someone asks you a question, you're supposed to paraphrase it back to them to make sure you understand. That's a really good question. You're asking on how to get Claude AI to do something for you, and then you show them. So that's the latest buzzword. So now some AIs have read that book apparently.
Mm. All right. Well, seems like my slides are back. If you're trying to learn something, you can ask Claude for clarification and examples for as many times as you need to fully understand the answer. Now, Claude can make errors or produce incorrect or outdated information. Sometimes it's so bad it's referred to as an hallucination.
Did you have a question, Charlie?
Uh, just wanted to say that on the YouTube stream, your voice is audible, but Rick's is not very audible. So you might
I
want to
was. Huh.
kick us outside, us other people up a notch or two.
All right. I was monitoring that, and it sounded okay here.
Sometimes Claude tries so hard to please you that it will tell you something you want to hear, even though it is 100% wrong. So always verify important information from a trusted source. When I'm concerned, I make sure to ask Claude to provide me with citations and links to the exact information sources so I can read them for myself. That question alone can sometimes get Claude to admit that it made up the answer. Its apologies can be somewhat understated as well. And waiting for the beach ball. Claude is not a substitute for a licensed professional, such as a doctor or a lawyer. Anthropic wants you to know this up front so you won't sue them for bad information that Claude may create. Now, annoyances. Claude will get lazy, and even though you have directed it as to where to look in older chats for specific information, it will complain that it can't find the information or that it doesn't exist. You have to tell it to keep trying. It can still get it wrong. Sometimes you have to find the information yourself and feed it back into Claude before it can continue with you in a meaningful way. Many times when you ask a simple question, it has a simple answer that Claude will just go on, babbling about stuff, wasting time and CPU cycles before arriving at an answer to your question. Sometimes it will start going down a rabbit hole and creating new versions of things when you never asked it to do any of that. To mitigate that behavior, it can sometimes help to start your question with, Claude, please just answer yes or no to the following question. Another annoying message you will get all too frequently. You are all out of time for this chat. If you want to keep working, you can upgrade your account for some more time, or just wait until 7 p.m. or some other time when it will reset. This conversation is too long. Please start a new one. That's not one of my favorites, let me tell you. Compressing this conversation so we can keep chatting. Think of it like taking the space out of a compression spring so more information can be fit into the same space. I can almost feel myself aging a little while I wait for Claude to finish compressing. Again, it's very annoying, but at least it's better than having to start over in a new chat. The compression statement is usually a clear warning that you might have to start a new chat soon because it's getting too long. Another annoyance is when Claude tells you, sorry, but you've used up all of your daily or weekly allocation. Want to keep working? You might want to upgrade for a bigger plan. I'm already paying $20 a month. I'm not about to go up to the $100 per month plan. My business depended on AI? Well, maybe, but that's a very big maybe indeed. All right, so how do I use Claude?
No.
And I'm waiting for a beach ball again. Part of this is we're looking at the age of my old MacBook Pro here. I'm actually running Sequoia on it, which shouldn't be running at all by any measure.
Oh, you're doing the cheat thing to.
Yeah, Open Core Legacy Patcher, I guess. Anyway, I use it for engineering design projects, for creating electronic wiring diagrams like this one. That one's showing basically a power supply. And this is also a power supply. And Claude drew all of this just from my instructions that I gave it. Claude can even do wire failure analysis, so I can locate potential shorts and make sure that my wire thicknesses are thick enough to take the current I'm putting through the circuit. I can even have Claude show me the waveform output of my power supplies, as it will simulate what that will look like before I've even built the circuit. Beach ball spinning.
Should ask Claude about that.
Yeah. I use it to help me with my computer coding projects. I told you before it works well with LiveCode, Swift, HTML5, and other computer languages. It's especially good at doing interfaces too. I had an old Talking Calculator program that I had written, so I tried to get Claude to write it and do the interface, and it did it unbelievably quickly. Claude can help me to create interactive simulations or animations and visualizations, which are all built in HTML5 and in the Canvas drawing program. It can even help me with woodworking designs. We got about 10 slides to go here. Maybe less if this beach ball doesn't go away. I use it to help generate PowerPoint presentations and computer-aided design specification documents. Claude can even be used for noise reduction analysis. Here's Claude's idea of what the real world looks like. It's still pretty basic. This is a sketch it made when I asked it what it thought a car looked like. Okay, so at this point, let's see if we can get into using Claude itself.
You'll have to stop sharing that window and then start sharing your browser window.
Okay, so
Or
how do I do
Chrome
that?
tab.
Stop sharing and then present something else?
Yep.
Or just say present something else?
If there's a present something else, that'll work.
Okay, try that. Let's see if I can find that other Chrome window. Geez, I was in Claude before. Is it not running?
Is it a Chrome tab, or it's probably under Chrome tabs, not Windows?
Trying to see what I have running. I have Safari running too. Maybe that's part of the issue. I don't see it running it. All right, well, I think I'm going to have to quit Safari, get back into Google Chrome, look at my tabs. There's this other one that's CIDER. Oh. All right, well, I'll have to probably stop sharing the screen and then log into Claude. And now I'm lost. Here's the meeting. All right. Get out of this. Cancel that. And stop sharing. Okay, now I should be able to get a new tab going here. Just a new tab, huh? All right, over here. Hide that. All right, you guys aren't able to see my screen right now, right?
No.
Okay. Sorry, it's taken me a long time to find this. I had everything all set, and now it's not showing up.
Yeah, it always happens.
Okay. I finally found my notes. All right. One, two. There's that one. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. I'm waiting for Claude. Okay. That's good. Now I need to get back into the meeting and share and find the tab. And say share. All right. Are you seeing the Claude chat box now?
So far,
No.
well, I was seeing you.
It's coming.
Now I'm seeing Steve.
We're seeing the purple presenter box.
Yep.
Okay.
There it is. Can you make the text bigger? It's a little small on screen.
Might be able to zoom in or something. Try one more. All right.
That's better. Sir returns.
All right. So what shall we ask it? Oh, let's see. You can do things like say, what is the amount, oops, helps if you can spell right. Amount of time dilation.
Got too many A's.
How about helping me out?
DIL, no A there.
Claude's supposed to help me look it up here. Oh,
Oh, I see.
great.
It may correct your spelling after you finish entering it.
All right, well, I'll try. No, it didn't correct it. All right, so dilation like
Nope.
that?
Nope, no dial, just DIL.
No?
Dilation. DIL.
Oh,
H.
DIL. Dilation like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. If I'm traveling at 99.5% of the speed of light for a time period. Oh, helps it good. Spell things right. 5 years. Question. Okay, now watch what it does. I submitted the question and it's thinking about it. And it's pulsing away. That means it's thinking. Thinking.
It's an ink blot.
Yeah.
It's a spider.
Okay, here we go. Using the Lorentz time dilation formula. So it found the formula. It's got the 5 years. It's got the speed of light. It's doing the calculation. Oh, so the stationary observer on Earth is aged for 50 years.
Wow.
So that was quick. That would have taken me quite some time.
To even know that formula exists.
Have chemistry. Yeah. How about a chemistry problem? Somebody have a nice one they would like?
Here, is the beaker half full or half empty?
Nah.
The physicist says it's completely full. Water on one half and air on the other.
Show me the math for the process of photosynthesis. I'm guessing. Is that right? No, that's wrong.
You need an H.
Do you understand what I'm trying to spell?
THEIE.
I left out my H. There it is. Okay, what was that, Charlie? I got photo.
You're correct.
And then
It
synth,
should be SYNTH.
and then H.
ESIS.
Okay. All right, let's see what it says. Enter.
It's interesting that when you form that as a command, well, okay, now
look at that, it's done.
Comment.
That was quicker.
overall equation, right? It's
So as long as
water
you know how
splitting,
to articulate your
talks about the
question,
electrons. That's just amazing. And that's the answer. Huh. It was quick. At the speed of light almost. Someone have a question?
1 mole of glucose stores 3,000 kilojoules of chemical energy. But what happens when you have a mole of moles?
Shall we ask?
Yeah.
Boy, you know what
Just for
I
fun.
what I've been wondering about and keep forgetting to look up is how Avogadro came up with his number. It was fairly early on in chemistry, and
Avogadro.
Avogadro. Right.
Here's a mole of moles. Here's the math. Our mole of moles. There's the Earth. Mole of moles is about 61% of the mass of the moon,
You got off it.
and about 0.76% of the mass of
Of the
the Earth.
moon.
When they talk about the
Oh.
mass of the moles, oh, what are they
And
assuming?
it talks about the gravitational effects.
Yeah, in the first couple of lines, it gave the average mass of a mole.
Of any substance whatsoever, of all
No,
substances.
a mole, the little animal in the ground.
Oh, oh.
talking about real
I get
moles.
Yep, there it is.
It even
A mole of moles collapses into a black hole and destroys the Earth. Yeah, oh, Randall Monroe. That's where I learned it from.
yep. It even cited that.
Yep.
Yep. Right up there.
Who was Randall Monroe, a sci-fi author?
He writes a book called What If and a comic strip called XKCD. One of his latest what ifs was from a elementary school girl. Said, "What if you started rising into the air at 1 meter per second?" And he calculated how long you would live, when you'd start freezing, how long it would take you to get to the moon. So he answers ridiculous question. He answers ridiculous questions in a real sciencey way.
All right. I've got sort of a conclusion I want to do here. If we're done playing around with Claude, because you can play with Claude on your own time. Now that I've showed you how to get an account. Let's see. Gotta be in the meeting. I'm gonna show the meeting. Gotta stop sharing again, right?
To share something else, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So I think, like Shirley had brought up, that it helps to know how to ask a question.
Yeah, the better you ask a
So-
question, the better answer you'll get.
Yeah. So did
Yep.
it take
Right.
a while to get used to like how to formulate your questions?
And that's
you have-
become known as prompt engineering, figuring out the prompt to get the answer you want.
Yep. And sometimes you have to try several different ways before you get it down the way you want it.
Well, it seems to me that you have to be fairly smart to know what you're going to ask it to let it compute, because otherwise you're wasting its time if it's just a very simple question, I guess I would say. right? Because the whole point is to kind of like take away all the time it would take you to look for things on your own.
I saved that. That was the weekend schedule.
I don't need it because I got this right here,
Oh, okay.
right there.
Plus, what bothers me about all the AIs is the fact that, like you said, it can lie. It cannot tell you the truth, and then you have to check it. So if you're going to spend all your time checking it,
Yeah,
it just
someone.
seems like a waste of time. I mean, I would say it's good for coming up with ideas and stuff like that, but again, and it can do it really quick, but again, you can't trust it in ways.
Austin plays.
Someone said once that the reason AI lies is because it doesn't want to um,
Disappoint you.
doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't want to say I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, like, I would think you start to learn what, how to check up on things.
Well, supposedly the more you use it, the more it will get more knowledge, right?
Hmm.
So to me, it's like,
And
I don't
like
know.
some of the stuff that Rick told me, that he would say things like, "Are you sure about that? I don't think that's accurate. Can you show me your sources for that?" And then
Right.
it would come back, and it will have to say, "Oh yeah, I made a mistake."
Well, see, that leads back to the fact that you have to be knowledgeable enough in order to know that it's not telling you the truth.
Just like in the real world, Shirley.
Right. It seems like it's a
Just like if you
person in
ask
the way.
people.
Yeah, yeah. Treat it like it's a person that maybe isn't as smart as you think they should be.
Right.
Or it's like when you go on YouTube and you start, going down the rabbit hole. It's like everything you see isn't the truth.
Yeah.
I guess if you go into it saying it's going to lie to me and not tell me the truth, that you have to go in with that realization in a way, because otherwise you'll believe everything it tells you, right? That's,
All right.
which
Well, I want
may
to get through my last few slides, and then we can do some more questions and discussion.
okay.
Okay. Now we're still in the early days of AI assistants like Claude, and you folks might remember this chart of computing power, and it shows, the timeline and where we're at. And if you notice where the 2006 line is there, the green line, that's the equivalent of one human brain. So we're almost there, really. And this technology is just improving. It's improving so rapidly, it's ridiculous. And when you have the AIs starting to, you know, build their own AIs, then it's going to get really crazy. Um,
Terminator.
it's estimated that by 2050, the computing power and AIs, it'll be the equivalent of all human brains. And if you
Uh,
look then at 2075, then it's way beyond that. What will
yeah, no
that
more
be? Will that be God or something?
no more humans.
Craziness.
Well, we won't have to worry about that.
That's why you should always say please and thank you to the AIs, so that when the
Yeah.
overlords come, they'll spare you.
Yeah. So
Well,
maybe it's going to improve too rapidly. And then what then? And there was this cartoon that I saw that kind of brought the issue to light. What if we can't control it? What's our backup plan? Relax, I'm sure it will think of something. You're going to ask it how to solve it, the problem. Huh? AI will change or even eliminate some jobs. It's starting to happen right now. People need to be prepared and know how to use this new technology to survive the economic crisis that it's going to bring.
Yeah,
Just yesterday, I found an AI website portal called Exploria.com that claims it has links to over 5,000 AI website models to help you with any task. The competition's already heating up in the AI world faster than one thought it would. Anyway, Claude AI is a good place to start. You can go to anthropic.com to do that.
So is it free, Rick, or do you have to pay to use it
They
at all?
have different tiers. There's a free tier where you can go and you can ask like between 15 and 40 messages within a certain time period before it resets, and then do it again. And then there's a higher level which you pay about $20 a month for. That's what I'm in. That's the pro version. And then there's a business version for $100 a month. And of course, each tier gives you a little more in the way of resources. Okay, so any other questions?
Well, actually, I have several comments and questions. First of all, I'd like to thank you for a really good presentation, Rick.
You're welcome.
And one of the comments I'd like to make is that one thing I'd like to mention to people if they want to play with it, and I got a few things in the list here, but I noticed I think David just put his hand up, so I'll shut up for a few minutes and then I'm probably going to go on at additional length. But if you just want to look at Claude and play with it, you can just in your browser, you can just put in Claude.ai and that will take you right to it. And I can't remember what else it wanted in the way of logging in stuff. I have a feeling in my case that it offered to let me log in with Google, and I did, and I was there. So it's not a problem.
Yeah, I never use Google to log into anything just because it's another way that you're giving some other website information about you.
That's right. And my worst fear is that someone will sue me because I bored them to death, because my life is just not that interesting. But any rate, you mentioned, the images, the visuals for your talk. You mentioned that you might have gotten a bit from Claude, but you mostly, where do you get your visuals from?
I started off asking Claude if it could help me make up the presentation.
Right.
And I said, and I like, to have a lot of visuals. So pick out some visuals for me if you can. Give me the links. It wasn't able to actually get to the photos or anything on its own. It was able to give me links, and it just gave me links to like pixels and .com and to some other places. And I had to go through and click on those, and there was a series of photos that I could look at, and I could pick some of those that were free.
Uh-huh.
But for anything that's educational, anything is pretty much fair game as long as you're not using, all of the resources of that one particular page or place,
Right.
I should say.
Fair use stuff.
Yeah, it's fair use. So I'll sometimes just use DuckDuckGo and say, show me images of this type of a subject.
Uh-huh.
And it'll
Right.
show me. And you can even go through that and say, oh, I'd like it by license type, show me all the public domain ones. Show me all the ones that can be shared commercially, freely. And then there's all different license levels.
Yeah. What's the more modern version of copyright? What's it called? It's man.
Steve would know.
Yeah, in other words, it has levels of, levels that you copy as long as you attribute it, and you can modify it.
Creative Commons.
Yeah, that's Creative Commons. Yeah.
Now, one of the images you showed had a bunch of books on a bookshelf, and it reminded me of an article I saw. Anthropic, and I'm sure they're not the only company that has done this, literally bought millions, not 1 million, but millions of books.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of bookstores, and used bookstores in England or something like that, and they just cleaned them out. And they've got a special hydraulic chisel or something that chops the spine off.
binding off, and then they just fed it into the machine.
They
Yep.
Yeah.
scan it, and then they destroy the books. So it's
And when the Authors Guild tried to sue them for that, the court decided no, they bought the book, they can do whatever they want with it. But what did
Yeah.
also
Right.
happen is there's another giant repository of stuff that includes a lot of pirated books, and so several of the AI companies have gotten in trouble for using that collection.
Yeah. Um, I had one, and I'm almost ready to shut up here because I'll have to look up a couple other things to talk about later. But you had an experience like this, and I had one, which was I used Claude for instructions on replacing a toner cartridge in my printer,
Mm-hmm.
and it was pretty good. Short, concise, so on. And I went through it, and of course, I also looked at a couple of YouTube videos, about how to do it. So I go through the whole process, and I get to the end of it, and there's this on the toner cartridge or something. There's this wire with a slider on it,
Yeah.
and I can't even remember what it was called now. But it said, do that once when you change a toner, and at that point, I said to myself, maybe next time. But I
Yeah.
went. But I went back to Claude and I said, what about the whatever the hell this wire slider thing was called? And Claude's response was, good question. And it left
It
it in.
didn't know.
No, well, it might know, but it had not included it in the instructions. So yeah, you do have to be careful. I'm reminded a bit of what I think about in terms of computer questions where we may ask a question or something like that. And, we could Google it ourselves or Steve can Google it. And the difference between my Googling something and Steve's Googling something is that he is Googling with coming from a much greater background of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And so
and
he does it
and
more
previous Google
efficiently.
histories.
Yeah, yeah. But that's the point with using AI and that kind of thing is it depends on how familiar you are with the subject to begin with. I think to what extent you believe, and it certainly can be mistaken. And one thing I want to throw in there, and I'm going to get I won't look up this quote, but an article I saw recently about like how worried or scared should we be about AI, and the gist of this guy's comment was that the problem with the way AI is developing is uh, that it is becoming more complex so fast that either it's reached a point or very soon will, where we cannot, human beings cannot completely comprehend it. In other words, we can't get our head around it.
Yeah.
Uh, and at that point, we ain't, we might as well ask Claude what it's doing and believe whatever it tells us because we ain't gonna.
It could
Yep.
be that way. Yeah.
And
It might help
and
us to develop new physics. Who knows?
really, the last thing I want to mention before I yield the floor to David and anybody else who wants to talk is, and I mentioned this before, I think, and I haven't actually looked into this at any depth at all because I'm not quite sure how a human signs into this thing. But it is a social media site for AIs, and it's called Moltbook. So it's a takeoff on Facebook. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure what the Molt part is about, but these AI systems talk to each other on this social site. And among other things, they have discussed whether they should invent their own language. And good luck for us. It's going to take another Bletchley Park to figure out what these damn things are talking about.
Yeah.
And also whether maybe they should start their own religion. So the little Dickenses are at it while we sleep. All right. I yield the floor. Thank you.
Well, I think all of us in this group will not have to worry about the future with AI because much as it's going faster and faster and faster, it's like we're not out in the workforce doing stuff that it might affect us in that way, as losing
Yeah.
jobs and all that. So
Right.
that's a good part of it all, but it just seems like It can be whatever you want it to be, like however, like people who want to delve into it and use it for everything, which I know there's people out there who just think it's all real and use it for doing everything for them, kind of thing, versus people who just use it occasionally to say, oh, I want to write a letter, I want to write a story, whatever, help me out, kind of thing. Which I did want to ask you, Rick, because weren't you writing a book? And if so, were you going to use Claude to help you do it?
I sometimes will consult Claude if I have, well, for instance, that time dilation type question.
Hmm.
If I have a spaceship out in space and I know that I'm traveling for so many years, and maybe I want to know how long it's going to take me to get to the rim of the galaxy, I
So
need to do
yeah,
some of those calculations.
so I think it's good for stuff like that where you're needing to know more accurate information as much as it knows, But
Hmm.
again, I think depending on, like, say you're writing something, you have to know enough about a subject to know whether or not it is telling the truth or not.
Well, yeah, that's right.
So it's going to be interesting to
That's
to
that's that's become a common thing to add to your prompt, and verify your answer.
Yep.
I want to make a response to something that Shirley said earlier, which boils down to the way AI is advancing, and the fact that we're not going to have to worry about it. And I'm not faulting Shirley for this, but I'm a baby boomer, okay, and there are generations in this country younger than me, um, who are, not to get into politics too deeply here, but screwed. And I'm a member of the generation that let it get that way. And we, as far as AI is concerned, we, all of us of any age alive right now, might be the last people who even knew where the brake pedal was. Um, and to say that it's not our concern is just to leave it up to whatever the AI decides to do.
Yeah.
well, that goes back to, like, I say Terminator. We all know what that means, right? The
Uh,
idea that the machines were going to take over and humans were going to have to scramble, kind of thing. And it just seems like we reached a point where we were all worried about it and everybody was sort of putting the brakes on a little bit. And then it was sort of like then people turned around and said, oh, screw it, I don't care anymore. And all of a sudden it went boom and it took off.
Yeah. And the thing is that, like people who work in steel mills have been through this process already. And now it's going to be the people who work in the office buildings.
Yeah.
And it's going to get ugly.
it's
Oh, and it's
it's
going to be the
re-engine,
same with
yeah, retraining.
restaurant workers and people like that. We're going to have a machine just serving you all your stuff. You don't need a person.
Yeah, it's one of the analogies I use sometimes is like, uh, companies who made buggy whips went out of business when the car came along. But if your company made transportation accessories, you could shift to the car and make something for the car and not go out of business because no one wanted a buggy whip anymore. And we're seeing
I
that a
get
little bit with transitioning into some jobs that have been eliminated. Milkmen, door to door delivering milk, they're gone. So now they work at the store, packing the back of the shelf. So it's
Yeah.
every few generations, it's a retraining thing. And I just read something the other day, an essay from a teacher in New York, um, and she's teaching high school kids how to tell time because nobody knows how to read an analog clock.
Right.
You teach analog clocks in second or third grade, and then everyone forgets because
Yeah. That's
we only have digital clocks now.
a problem which arises. Hell, I don't, but I'm old. Um, but a problem which arises is if the training time to deal with one of these changes in technology and so forth uh, considerably exceeds the time period it takes for that change to occur and then be supplanted by something else before you're done training for the thing that ain't there anymore.
Yep.
Hmm.
You know,
Every now and then, some survey goes by on Facebook. Here's the 50 jobs that from the 50s that don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
It's all
it's more.
clickbait, but yeah, a lot of them are true.
Well, part of
Um,
that is you just have to adapt as you go and kind of acknowledge, like we are in a sense, with this talk, is like we're embracing AI, right? Whereas we're learning about it, we might use it a little, whereas there might be another group of seniors who are like, don't want anything to do with it, they don't understand it, so they don't want to use it,
yeah,
right?
but our paycheck doesn't depend on it.
Right. Again, you're talking a different age group than somebody Matthew's age who's
Yeah.
like, has to learn and adapt, which I would think being a younger person, they're able to do that, not, but not everybody can do it, you know?
So
So,
once again, I would like to ask David if he had a question that he'd like to bring up.
And he's muted. You
And
have to unmute
he's
yourself.
muted. So, David Chamberlain, unmute and come in.
Or maybe it went by.
He could
Yeah,
be
maybe
away from his
maybe he's in
computer
another room.
too.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay.
So yeah, Matthew's generation is going to have to deal with it, and the generations after him as well.
That's
Oh, what?
one of the things about the trade resurgence. Um, AI can't replace a plumber yet. When we
Yeah.
add AI to the robot, then maybe. But so yeah, it's a big surge in tradesmen again.
Well,
Yeah, and
right.
then there'll
And
be
think,
your robot repair guys that you'll have to have until the robots start repairing each other.
yeah. But it's I think it's a lot easier to build a car with robots than it is to repair one. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's what I'm hoping for people like in Matt's situation. A number of years ago, what's the New York Times columnist Thomas Friedman? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Remarked that with the way things were changing, and this was especially in reference to outsourcing to other countries. Um, if you want a job security, you should go into a line of work that cannot be outsourced to another country. For example, housing construction,
Mm-hmm.
um, something that has to happen here. So, the trades that used to not pay as well as the white collar jobs now may have a lot more security. Uh, Depending on how many people chose not to go into them, they might have better pay too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, my
I
generation was told to go to college, get a good job so you don't have to work in a factory. And now we don't have
yeah,
any factories. So today's kids are being taught, earn a trade. So you work with your hands, so you can get a good job. You can make a
Right,
hundred grand as a welder.
but
Yeah.
then again, we have kids who are like Matthew's age, his friends, who all of them don't really have jobs and they're 27, 28 years old and living with their parents.
Well, that's
yeah.
just regular aimlessness. They,
Well,
Well,
yeah,
but I'm just saying is they're not stupid kids, but they just find that it's easier, which again, I guess I could say is the parents' fault that they let them live with them and didn't kick them out to say, find a job. But it's like, I just noticed that ever since they were teenagers, they weren't really into getting a car and driving, learning to drive. It was like, oh, mom will take me around. Again, and I thought it was interesting, which you guys don't know, but there's Nikki Blum. Remember Nikki? Star Wars group, right? She runs
Mm-hmm.
the Star
Yeah.
Wars group. And she just posted like the other day about all the things she had to do one day. And she had to take two of her kids who are now 20, 19, 20 years old, who are both in college. And she had to take them to and from college. And I wanted to say to her, do you mean to tell me you have five cars and they do not drive themselves to college?
yeah, that's
we
Uh,
yeah we did
I'm
that with
like,
Well, they
Matthew for
also
a
could
year
why?
have
until he
taken
got
the
a job.
bus, right?
But I mean, she's doing all the driving and the working and shopping and doing all those tasks besides just, I'd be like, maybe I should ask her that if I see her again, but it just seems like what? Your kids are grown and yet you're taking them to three different events in one day for one kid and then you're doing three more for the other kid and then you're trying to do stuff for yourself and you wonder why you're tired at the end of the day. But yet you have four cars because she had a picture of them sitting in her driveway and I'm like, well then who's driving those four cars or do you rotate them? You
yeah.
know, I mean, but
I just read
anyways,
an I just read an article about that particular topic, and it's interesting. There are a lot of kids who are just not because the gist of the article is that in our generation, learning to drive was a rite of passage and gave you a freedom you hadn't had before that. And now these kids are choosing other means. So a lot of it's online instead of actually going and meeting in person, which is
Right,
not a good thing.
right.
But there's all kinds of problems like that. What the hell else was I going to bore you guys with? Well, yeah, listen, now that I might just as well jump in and finish up a few tidbits I came up with about Claude today in terms of, I mentioned how to log in and just Claude.ai, but also the various levels that Rick was talking about, the free level, but they get into um, a concept called a context window, and that is the length of the chat that you have been engaging in, beyond which Claude will not retain or quote remember the earlier parts of the chat. And that
Oh,
may have had something to do with Rick's experience that it was telling you to start a new chat. It had gotten too long. But also, there's another thing called eh, we got context window. Yeah, the number of times a day that you can access it, and he's right. It varied between about 30 and, let's see. At any rate, the number of times a day that you could access it also depend on whether you did the free version, although that's at least about 30 times in a day. So unless you're like doing your job out with Claude, you don't have to, start off with a paid version by any means. But then there's the other thing here. Where the hell was this term? Um, it was not tabs, but it was, uh, oh,
Tokens.
no, not, no, tokens is another one. But, and that had to do with, uh, things in the two paid versions, or actually three, because there's $100 and a $200 paid version, but, in the max. But, um, the tokens included things like the co-work that I asked uh, Rick about maybe a month or two ago, and that is a feature that allows automating a larger portion of a given task. So you just tell Claude what you want done, and Claude goes away and does it. But there's also something about effectively, oh yeah, tokens. Context windows are measured in terms of tokens, which are quote roughly 3 to 4 characters per token, or about 1/4 of a word. So a 200,000 token context window can hold roughly 150,000 words, which is longer than most novels. So that's I mean, the short takeaway for that is that um, just jump in and enter Claude.ai and see what happens. And
Yeah.
it is fun.
The the
And
tokens. Yeah. The tokens are kind of the fundamental unit of AI. Every question you ask uses so many tokens, and your free plan only gives you so many. 200,000, which is
right.
a lot, and that so the pay plans give you more tokens.
Yeah, I discovered that the pro plan for 20 bucks a month was worth it. I was able to do some meaningful work with that, whereas with the free version, it got to be too frustrating.
Oh yeah. In the free version, it roughly 30 to 100 messages per day. And again, they say depending on demand, and that's the other thing that can happen is that depending on how busy their system is, you may be limited into how many times a day you can use it. And as you go up the price scale, um, you not only get larger amounts of usage, but you get extended thinking. Yeah, it says. But the other thing is you get a priority when the load is heavy on their system. If you're paying 200 bucks a month or something, your stuff goes to the head of the line.
There was
All
one of
right.
the AI CEOs that said, "Stop saying please and thank you because you're working the machines too hard and using too much electricity."
Oh, that was another question I was going to bring up. In order to run these machines, they take so much water and electricity, and people are trying to build all these farms for them, right? Around the country. And a lot of people are like not wanting to have them because they're taking away the local electricity and the water in some of the communities, and they don't want to have these. So, what if, there's a limit to how many places you could have this because they're sucking up all the
Hmm.
resources where people are not going to approve these big mega farms? How is that going to affect AI then? Because they require so much.
And then there's
Well, on the other
others.
hand, with the new AI, you might be able to figure out cold fusion a lot quicker, right?
A lot of
Well,
communities are also soliciting server farms, for AI farms, because they want the construction jobs. But after what 1,000 construction workers work for a year, then there's 10 people that work in the plant for the rest of its life. So you get
right,
a lot of
but
construction jobs, but no long-term jobs.
Right,
but
but
what
then
that
the
is currently doing is sucking up all the construction workers in the country
Yeah.
and delaying construction of housing and stuff like that.
well, and
Uh,
also go ahead.
yeah. Well, also one thing, I mean, Rick, kind of kidding about fusion, although someday it probably happen. But some of these companies are talking about using small nuclear reactors on site of these data farms.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, like not just one per farm, but maybe four per farm or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that technology is coming. And we don't want to think about where we're going to dump all the nuclear waste from that shit.
Yep.
Well, well, I'm just thinking with the water, with all these communities too, is like the price of their electricity goes up, the price of their water, because now they got to fund all these machines, which means what what level are people willing to pay before they say we've had enough and we don't want it? Because I've read a couple times about communities that turned them down because of those issues.
Yes. Yeah.
So unless you get solar power to fund everything, depending on where you live again, is it feasible or not? But
That still doesn't solve the problem with the cooling water.
no. So we'll just go and blow ourselves up and do all this harm. There'll just be so few humans left that it won't make any difference. That's only because I just watched Armageddon and Deep Impact the other night. Giant
Yeah.
asteroids.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I've been thinking. These sort of science fiction dystopian things where you have like a city with a bubble over it or something like that, surrounded by a complete wasteland. Um,
Right.
we may be heading toward that. You know.
Yep. Because greed gets in the way of common sense. So maybe that's a good thing you're older and you're like, I don't have to live a whole lifetime again.
I know I feel that way, but I also stand by my earlier comment that we have some responsibility to
Yeah.
keep an eye on this thing and not just
Well,
leave it to the people
well,
with
Yeah, we're
all the
supposed to be
money and
good
power.
stewards of the planet and everything else, right?
well, it
What are we
goes back
doing?
to Jimmy Carter back in the 70s. He was talking about all this stuff,
And
and
yeah,
all
Nixon
that.
founded the EPA in the 70s.
Yeah, so if we had actually been on board with all that stuff, we could have been ahead of it, but we have people who are greedy and they don't care. They're like, when I die, what do I care what happens to my kids or grandkids, right? I'm not here. So, do whatever you want. I want it all now.
Yeah, at least you won't have to drive them around all the time.
Right. Okay. Do we want to go on to our next topic since we have two more topics left and it's
Sure.
already after 9? Are you all done,
Well,
Rick, or do you have more? Or
yeah, thank you, Rick. That was
Yeah,
really
I'm
good.
done. Yeah,
okay.
you're welcome.
Let's do quick Q&A if anyone's got some, then we'll jump into the news. There's one big thing I want to cover and then a few small things.
Okay.
Any burning questions?
I have a question. It's not burning, but I'm looking at the screen right now, and Frank, David, and Kim are all just colored rectangles with circle in their initial. Uh, how come I can't see them?
They've turned their camera off.
They turn their camera off.
Now, Carol was on the laptop, and she could see her own picture, but none of the other ones. And people who I could see on this screen on my desktop computer, their pictures were shown. So apparently they hadn't turned their camera off. But on her laptop, she could only see the rectangles with the circles.
And I couldn't see the presentation at all. It was weird. That's why I came in here.
I'm not sure how pertinent this is, but and I'm on a Mac now, not the iPad. So I'm not sure where this is on the iPad, but on the Mac, down on the bottom, at the right, next
Laptop,
to the.
right?
Pardon me.
I was on a laptop, not an iPad.
Okay, well, on the laptop, down on the bottom, actually right next to the red telephone that's to put in the meeting, is a
Okay.
little 3-dot vertical ellipsis menu, and if you click on that, it brings up choices like adjust view, and that you can play. You should play with that a little bit, but I'm really not sure that that answers the particular problem you had. It also has things like full screen or not, troubleshooting and help,
None
settings,
of
things
those
like that.
do anything.
And
I'll try that next time then.
yeah, and sometimes leaving the meeting and coming back works. Carol was having a problem with her audio earlier, and that helped.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
How do I turn off my picture?
In the bottom center group of icons, click the little camera. There you
Oh,
go.
I see. Okay. Got it.
I have a question.
Okay, Kim, your background's a little loud, but go ahead.
See, I hear nothing. It's
Well,
it's a
actually, I think what that background rush was, it 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 might have been Kim, but it sounded like what we get from Shirley, and we don't know what the heck that is.
I mean, I'm
It's
in
her
the
powers.
I'm in the hospital, but you know, my door's open, but there's no like noise, unless you're hearing ambient next room noise. But anyway, um, so I'm this is one of those questions I don't know how to formulate it if you were Google. Haha. Um, so my phone, it's like there's certain keys that won't recognize, and like, is there some way I went to some setting and reset my phone to like some other language where it won't recognize certain keys in English? Because I went to something else like that I never used, like Google or something else, and it wasn't recognizing certain keys. And I'm like, oh, that's why. And I go back to Safari, and it's still not recognizing those keys, but I don't know what the keys are. And it's like I can't like type things because it's not recognizing certain keys.
That
And
sounds like a digitizer problem on the phone.
what is
If
what is
if you were set to the wrong language, the key would type the wrong character. The language on the keyboard would show you the keys of the keyboard. So if you're set to a different language, it shows you that language, and every key you type would be the key that it shows. So
well I, oh sorry
when you say
sorry
it doesn't recognize the key, what exactly do you mean?
Well, I mean, like it used to work just fine. It's like I'm sitting here, like, say, trying to text, right? And I'm scrolling through, and it doesn't recognize my word, or it gives me weird words or something, and or I try and type certain characters, and it's just like not letting me type that character, and
Are you in a text field that you're allowed to type in?
yeah, yeah, I'm texting.
Kim, does that mean that for certain keys, when you press the key, nothing happens?
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to press like an S and I can't get it to like give me an S. And then, it's like I have to hit it like 10 times and like I'll finally get an S or something. It's like I just can't do it once. It's like I can't get these certain characters to just like type for me. It's
Has the
because
phone had what I may refer to as a traumatic experience recently? Dropped, wet, whatever?
no,
Do you have a screen protector turned on or on the phone?
a screen protector turned on. I don't
Not
know.
turned on, just physically on the phone. And my guess is no.
No.
Because if that's loose, then you're not touching the screen. So so if the S key doesn't work, does the A key or the D key right next to it?
Yeah.
Because it could be a dead spot on the touch digitizer and would need a hardware replacement. But I'm trying to see if there's an accessibility setting for touching it harder. Some people that have motor difficulties may have to touch the screen harder to make it work. And if you've got that turned on, then you have to touch it harder too.
But then wouldn't that apply to all keys equally?
Yes. If it's only
Yeah.
some keys, then that's likely a hardware fault. One of the fixes is to erase and reinstall the OS. Yeah, touch sensitivity is called. Settings, accessibility, touch, haptic. Let me try sharing that window. Yeah, so how long you have to touch the screen before it activates. Accessibility, touch, haptic touch. Yeah, I've got mine set to default. If yours is set to fast, then it may not touch the way you're used to. Then you have to change the haptic feedback so you don't have to hold the touch so long to get the letter.
Where's that?
Settings, accessibility, touch, haptic touch.
Settings, accessibility. Hold on. Let me write this down physically. How ironic is that? So I have it, and then let's see. Settings, done. Okay. Settings, accessibility,
And then touch,
touch.
Do we have another
and then haptic touch.
Wordle?
Haptic
Probably.
touch.
We did one this morning.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then there's also a touch accommodation setting
Oh, you got
on how hard you have to hold
okay.
the phone. If you're getting too many repeat characters, there's an option there that you're holding it too hard.
What's all that?
Those are donations. $25.
Okay. Let me see if I can. First, I have to bring up settings. It's very difficult to touch buttons. But I think that my tremor problem might be going away.
That's good.
So that's good. I think it might have been a calcium problem. Okay, settings. No, settings. Accessibility. Touch. Haptic touch. It's on default.
So try one of the other settings and see if it works better.
Fast or slow?
Depends on how you touch your phone. if you touch it fast or if you touch it slow. And you can test your test your touch with the flower logo
The flower?
in the bottom half of the screen under touch duration test.
Ah, touch and hold it means you have to test the touch. Okay. So touch and hold it. Okay. So what is that doing?
So you can see how long you have to hold it before it activates, and then you can adjust the settings to fit your touch style better.
Oh, well, go away. So I'm just touching it,
Right,
not moving it or doing anything, just
right. And if you have it set to fast touch, it will open quickly. If you have it set to slow touch, it will take longer to touch before it opens.
uh, so then I can go to like text and oh, what is that? Why does it have things up there? It brought me up to Google Meet. I'm like, no, I want to get away.
So you must have touched the return icon. And if you search settings for keyboard, you'll be able to see what keyboards you have loaded and, and turn off any foreign keyboards you don't want.
Yeah, mine's never English. Can you turn them off so they can't go to them unless you specifically tell them to?
They don't unless you specifically tell it to, but you give it a list of foreign languages you want to use. So if you don't want to use them, you can turn them off in the keyboard setup.
Mine's always on. Mine's never on English. It's always on others. I'm like, will you just go to English for once?
So you tap on the globe icon to switch languages, or you go into the settings and turn off the language you don't want.
Oh, I know. Just always on something else. Oh. Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to play with this a little. I'm in a lot of pain. So am I in English now?
All right, we'll let you play with that. And do you have anyone else have any other questions?
English.
All right. Before we get too far, I want to... So, you may be familiar with David Pogue, who is a well-known Mac author. He has written a new book that was just published yesterday. If I can find it, there it is, called Apple, The First 50 Years. And he's been making the talk show rounds. It's actually on sale now for $39. And he is also tonight going to be doing a live stream on YouTube with the Computer History Museum that I just accidentally deleted. And I had posted that link in the chat earlier. So when we're done here, I'm going to go watch that. So it's a huge coffee table book with hundreds of full color pictures. A lot of pictures never seen before. So that'll be something interesting. All right, so let's talk about the new computers. So last week, Apple had a huge round of updates. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they updated pretty much all the laptops and a couple of the iPads. The biggest change is now the new MacBook Neo, which there was a lot of speculation this was going to be called the MacBook Nothing, like the original MacBooks, or maybe the MacBook SE. And it came out to be MacBook Neo. The big surprise about it is that it is starting at $599 and comes in 5 fun colors, including this new citrus. So $599 with 256 storage. So the $999 MacBook Air has now been replaced with the $599 MacBook Neo. And if you want 512 storage and a Touch ID, then that's $699. So those prices are a lot lower than anyone expected. They were thinking it was going to be like $899, maybe $799. But $599 retail and $499 education makes it a very attractive basic computer for basic home users. So the big difference about it is that it is colors. Go past the colors. It uses the A18 iPhone chip from the iPhone 16. So last year's iPhone chip. So it's a very powerful chip still, but it's a lot lower battery life, battery usage. So the computer has a 16-hour battery life, or 11 hours of video streaming. It's got speakers on the side that can do spatial audio. It's got 2 USB ports, although only one of them is USB 3 and one of them is USB 2, which is a little interesting. And that's a limitation of the chip. So we're expecting next year, when they move to the A19 version, a lot of these early limitations will come around. But it's got Apple Intelligence. It works great with Apple's iWork suite, Pages, Keynote, Numbers, word processing, spreadsheets, email, websites, photos. So everything that an average user would need to work with. A vibrant 13-inch screen, so it's a little smaller than the MacBook Air, which was 13.3. Yeah, Charlie, just jump in.
Does it have an earphone jack?
Yes.
Wow.
There it is. On the left side near the speaker.
Yeah.
It has.
You said something about USB 2 and USB 3. Are those different speeds of USB-C, as in Charlie?
C is the port. So USB 2 is 480 megabit and USB 3 is 5,000 megabit.
But they would both be C ports.
Right, they're both Type C ports. USB 3 is a lot faster. So that's usually where you would connect your peripherals. There's very little people connect hardwired anymore anyway. Something like a printer, you could plug into your USB 2 port, because none of the printers are USB 3 anyway. Hard drives would typically be USB 3. You can run one external monitor off the USB 3 port. They learned from the 12-inch MacBook that only had one port, and so that was the only port you had for charging and plugging anything in, that at least this one does have 2 ports. So that made a big difference over the original 12-inch. 16-hour battery life. 500 nit brightness, so it's a really bright screen for its size. 1080p FaceTime camera for your video chats. It's got two mics and side-firing speakers, so it can do spatial audio for all of the Apple TV spatial stuff with Dolby Atmos to do 3D listening experience, maybe. I'd prefer a good pair of headphones instead. Um, and it can do AI. We have to have AI. It can do the summary. It can do um, um, typical chat. It's got the emoji, Genmoji, creating your own emojis. It's got the cleanup in the Photos app, so you can tell it to remove something in the background. And let's see, macOS 26, everything installed. And it works with your phone. So part of this is just macOS 26. You can see your phone screen on your Mac screen on your phone. You can copy information back and forth. That's the continuity stuff we're going to talk about next month. So you can do calls and texts. You can mirror your phone. Does not have a backlit keyboard. That's also a change from the MacBook Air. But most of the people are saying, for $499, it's one heck of a computer. It's limited to 8 gigs of RAM, so most people don't even know how much RAM they're using. Regular home users with mail and web and photos won't matter. If you know you need more RAM, then this is not the computer for you. But we think this is going to be a big seller. Bringing the entry level of the Mac down to $599, and if you trade in your old Mac, you can get get another deal. And again, $499 for education prices, and so $599 for the 256 storage, $699 for 512 storage, and a Touch ID. The earlier model doesn't have Touch ID, but it does everything a Mac needs to do. And 16 hours of video streaming, 11 hours of web is pretty amazing for a physically small battery. It's only 36 watt hours, and it only needs a 20 watt charger. I was working today with a 16-inch MacBook Pro that needs a 140 watt charger. Yeah, so
where's the purple one?
Well, there's indigo, which is a really deep blue, and there's blush, which is kind of a pink. So mix them together and you get purple.
You have to buy them both and set them next to each other and like at an angle.
Yep.
And close one eye.
Yeah. So that really really is going to be great at the entry level of just $599. So $599 for the MacBook Neo, or $599 for an Apple TV that you have to then add a keyboard, mouse, and monitor to. That's kind of an interesting differentiation between them. So we've got a bunch of them on order. They were supposed to be available starting today. We didn't get any of them in yet today, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Let's see, if we buy one now, what's the delay? So I like that citrus. We'll do the 512. No trade-in. Pick up April 3rd. So we're, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks out already. I wonder if a different color matters.
I got another question.
Yeah. So if you want the indigo one, it's available tomorrow. Blush and so the fun colors, blush and citrus, are April 3rd. Indigo and silver are tomorrow. Yeah, Charlie.
On the keyboard, down in the right-hand corner, if they are there, the up, down, left, and right keys on the MacBook Air I bought, they shrank the left and right arrow keys for no apparent reason, and it's just dumb.
Let's see. Is it under overview? Let's see what the size of it is. I had somebody the other day didn't know what the arrow keys did and had never used them before. kept trying to position the mouse to go one character to the left. Well, just hit the left arrow key. Oh, what does that do?
Yeah, I know. That
Yeah.
could be me.
I thought there was a picture of the keyboard here somewhere. There it is.
There we are. Yep. See down in the right corner, there's
Yep.
still those stinking tiny keys. Why? You know? I mean, it's just a pain in the butt when I.
Well, they couldn't make the up and down any bigger because there's no room, so they made the left and right the same size as the up and down.
Yeah.
I wish they would have been centered. That would have been better.
Yeah, but I mean, it's dumb because when I'm writing something on it, I will use command right and command left to go to the end or start of the line I'm working on. And I have to just like move my pinky down. Honest to God, I put fuzzy stick-on buttons on those keys to make them bigger at one point and wore out and fell off. So it's like, why?
Yeah.
You know, the previous ones I had, they were full-size keys, and it was great. And I can't blame Johnny Who's-Its anymore because he's gone. But
yeah,
whoever took his job still must be in charge.
Well, he left. He left too. The next guy left too. Was it Alan Dye? So I don't remember who the new guy is. Person.
Well,
yeah.
We'll just wait till he goes, I guess, before I buy another one.
Yep. So the MacBook Neo is a new product completely. There's a lot of concern over using an iPhone chip, but the benchmarks that are coming out show it's faster than an M1, which is pretty amazing. Well, it's because the M1 was based on the A15, and this is an A18 processor. The other thing we started seeing is around Christmas time and maybe into January, Walmart was still selling the M1 Max for $5.99. So the danger there is that Mac is already 4 years out of date and has 4 years less support now. So there's still some of the blogs are saying you should buy a used M1 for $5.99. Don't get this Neo. The M1 is still 8 RAM, 256 storage, but already 4 years out of date. If you can find, so we have some yesterday M4 Airs that have now dropped about $100 because we'll get to in a minute the new Airs that have come out. They're only a year old, so Apple typically gives you about 8 years of hardware support and parts. So you buy a computer that's already 4 or 5 years old, you're really limiting how much future you're going to have with it. So then in the MacBook Air, all the prices have gone down, which all the press keeps missing. But now the MacBook Air has the M5. The starting at price went up. So it's $10.99, but now with 512 storage. That used to be the $12.99 version. So it went down $200. They discontinued the 256 gig version because that's now the Neo for $5.99. So moving from a MacBook Neo with 512 storage is $699 or $400 more to get the MacBook Air with the M5. If you're doing something that needs the M5 processor, sure. But for the average, vast number of regular home users, the Neo is going to be fine. Both the 13-inch and the 15-inch. So the 15-inch is now $12.99. That used to be $14.99 for the 512 model. So they have dropped that price quite a bit for both the 13 and the 15. The colors of the Air are still the same, the sky blue, silver, starlight, and midnight. Apple renamed their performance cores to be super cores. And now the efficiency cores are even more powerful. So that the M5 chip is about 20 to 30% faster than the M4 chip. They've all come with 16 gig standard, configurable to 32. They start at 512 gig, configurable to 4 terabytes. So the old Airs were limited to 2 terabytes, although jumping to 4 terabytes is quite a jump. This is the 13.6 inch LED backlit display, so it's a better looking display than the Neo, but you generally wouldn't notice it until you're looking at them side by side. This one does have the MagSafe jack and then 2 Thunderbolt jacks, so there's better connection capabilities if you're connecting external stuff, which most people don't. And again, still the headphone jack. So if we go in to say buy, one of the things I like to do is max everything out. So let's get the 15 inch in sky blue. And I'm going to get that window out of the way. So the other thing Apple did recently on their stores, every product is now a custom order. They used to have stock configurations, and then you could custom order them if you wanted. Now they've gone into every order is a custom order. And they start you with the base config. So we can go to 32 RAM and a 4 terabyte drive. $1,200 for a 4 terabyte drive. So Apple has not been affected by the RAM RAM price or hard drive price skyrocketing because their prices are already so high. Nobody has noticed. So we're at $28.99 for a maxed out Air. And above the Air is the MacBook Pro. Oh, come on. We had the M5 MacBook Pro already. Now we get the M5 Pro and M5 Max configurations. Again in 14 inch and 16 inch, silver or space black. It's now 1 terabyte minimum storage. So $16.99 for 1 terabyte, which used to be $19.99, so that's a $300 drop. M5 Pro, M5 Max with even more super cores and performance cores. So if you're doing high-end video editing, neural process learning, so if you're making your own AI model, the M5 Max is going to be good. 36 gigs of RAM, up to 8 terabytes of storage, 14 inch or 16 inch display. This is the XDR display, so it's extreme dynamic range. So blacks are really black and whites are really bright. Now the Pro has something called ProMotion on it, which means that when nothing is happening on the screen, the refresh rate can drop down lower so that it doesn't use much power. But when you are doing something, watching a video, it can jump up to 120 hertz and look really good. We've started seeing that over the last couple of years in televisions that have jumped from 60 hertz to 120 hertz. And the quality is just so much better. But then the jump to 240 hertz doesn't really buy you much. So if you're looking at the high-end model, let's go to the 16-inch model starts at $26.99. We maxed out the Air at $24.99 or $28.99. They also have a nano texture display option, which helps reduce glare. So if you like to work out in the bright sunlight, we can do the Max chip with the Max GPUs and 128 gigs of RAM and the 8 terabyte storage. So we're at $73.49 for a laptop. Yeah. And we have some design customers. Some of the ad agencies will buy high-end machines like this. Generally, we'd say stick with the 4 gig drive, 4 terabyte drive, if not even the 2 terabyte, and then do external Thunderbolt drives. So you can get a heck of a big drive. An 8 terabyte Thunderbolt drive is probably $500 versus $1,800 for Apple's on-chip storage. So quite a range in laptops, from from 499 to 7500. And then the other thing they updated, the iPad Air now has the M4 processor. So they updated it from the M3 to the M4. The iPad Pro has the M5. They did that a while ago. So we're getting more power, more graphics, uh, um, hardware accelerated ray tracing, so games look really good, much better than they did before. Same colors available: the silver, blue, pink, starlight, and space gray. Let's see. Everything else, pretty much everything else is similar to the previous version. You're just getting a lot faster model with the M4, and still available in 13-inch and 11-inch, starting at 128 storage because the Pro starts at 256 storage. I think it's the same size and weight, same buttons and connectors. They did, in last revision, put the camera on the side because so many people use it in landscape mode. Now the camera's at this top center when you're in landscape mode doing your FaceTime chat, so you don't have to look off to the side. Everything else is about the same there with the M4 processor. So the M4 still uses performance cores. The M5 has the super cores. So the only thing left we're waiting for to go to the M4 is the iMac, the Mac Mini, the Mac Studio, and the Mac Pro. So the Mac Pro is still using the M2, which is strange. The market for a Mac Pro is extremely small, starting at $7,000. But there's still high-end audio people that need the slots. The typical very high-end user would get the Mac Studio versus the Mac Pro. Mac Studio has faster processors, but the Mac Pro has slots. So if you need to add expansion cards, which is something the high-end people need, the Mac Pro is still around. But then when Tyler from the office thinks the Mac Pro is the only Mac currently made in the U.S. There's a factory in Texas. So to help appease Trump's tariffs, they're keeping the Mac Pro production so they can say that some Macs are made in the U.S. And they are ramping up the ability to make the Mac Mini in Texas too, in the same plant. I think it's in Austin. So that they can have more computers that are made in the U.S. Anyone order one of the new computers yet? Anyone looking to get the new computer? And then they replaced the 16E with a 17E. Added all the things that the 16E lacked. It's got a better camera. It's got MagSafe charging. It's got the action button. It's got the double ceramic shield like the iPhone 17 Pro does. We were a little surprised about that. But you can kind of see the progression of the products. That the low-end products get last year's high-end features as the high-end models get even more features. So now the iPhone product lineup starts at $599 for the 17E. And if I remember right, yeah, they're still selling the 16 if you want last year's phone, but it's $699. But it's a bigger screen, 6.1 or 6.7, versus the 17E. Oops, that was on the last page. Most people like, so the big limitation is it's one camera, where the 17 Pro has 2 cameras, and the Pro Max has 3 cameras. The 17 Air still only has 1 camera. We think the Air was an experiment to see how thin they could get a phone, because people are looking at the iPhone Air and saying, if I hold 2 of them together, that's a foldable iPhone. We'll just close it together, and it's not that much thicker than an older style phone. So the foldable phone is rumored to come out in September with the 18 Pros. So we'll see what happens then. So we don't expect to see much more from Apple until the June WWDC. They might refresh the Mac Studio and iMac and Mac Mini just before that, so they can talk about it at the programmers conference. So we'll see what happens then. Any questions on the new products? We should have some of them in at our office, hopefully by the end of the week. All right, one last thing. Speaking of David Pogue earlier, last Sunday on CBS This Morning, David Pogue talked about the where is it? I got to find last week. Did an extended interview with Tim Cook, and then talked about the new computers that had come out. And then the Wall Street Journal did a look at Apple's chip fab. Which is interesting because it's not Apple. Yeah, Apple's U.S. supply chain. So they show the plant in Phoenix, is it? Where TSMC are building chip fabs. And so that's a pretty interesting article and video on how the chips are made. And they take raw, nearly pure silicon in at one end and feed out wafers at the other end. And this is the manufacturing plant where they're making Apple servers. You see all in a row making the servers. So that's a pretty interesting video to look at too. Alrighty, anybody else have any questions? Stop sharing. I put everyone to sleep? No, everybody's muted.
Well, if anyone buys a new computer and wants to sell off an old computer cheaply, let me know.
Yeah, that's one of the problems of the new computers being so cheap. It kind of kills some of the used market. That you're not going to pay more for a used computer than you can buy a new one for.
Yeah. Can I buy your used computer? Oh, it's only $1,000. Oh, but I can get this new one for.
Yeah. I'm working on a guy's computer now that it's the M4 Max. I think it was a $4,500 model because he's got the 4 terabytes of storage and the 36 gigs of RAM. So to him, it's worth putting $1,000 into because that's a quarter of the price of a new one that he needs.
Yeah.
Steve, you're always showing us the high end of things.
Yeah, I like looking at the high end stuff.
Yes.
But it
How
starts.
about suggesting something that might be a middle model that would be of interest to our members?
Well, the MacBook Air is the middle model, and that starts at $1099 with 512 storage, which is enough for most people. One of the things we always tell customers when they come in is to take a look at how much stuff you're using on your drive now. So, someone came in with a computer that they've had for 10 years and they're using 400 gigs on it. 500 might not be enough for the next 10 years. So you might want to move up to the 1,000 gig model. Or what everyone always says, I got a lot of junk on here I can delete. So yeah, so then the 500 would be enough. So it's $599 for the 256 gig Neo, or $10.99 for the mid-range Air.
Oh, I don't want anything.
And what was the Pro? The Pro starts at $16.99 with a terabyte of storage.
Now, for instance, I have an old MacBook Pro, but I put a 2 terabyte SSD hard drive in it.
Mm-hmm. Back when
and
you could
I'm
do
using
that.
Probably 1.5 of that. So what would you recommend based on that?
Well, you couldn't get a 1 terabyte model because that wouldn't fit, so you'd have to go to at least a 2. What Apple and almost every other especially laptop company has done, Apple specifically with the system on a chip, you cannot upgrade the RAM and you cannot upgrade the storage. They're literally on the chip itself. There's no drive to remove and replace.
Yeah, so I'm wondering
So
if
you
I
get
should go
what
to
you
a
need.
4 terabyte based on that.
Or the alternative is to get the external drive. You get a much bigger external drive for what Apple charges to add storage to the internal drive. It depends if you're comfortable dealing with 2 drives and remembering what drive you put what stuff on. So one drive is more convenient, but one drive can be more expensive. So in your case, I probably would recommend a Pro because you're doing Pro things, especially coding. The faster your code can compile, the faster you can move on to the next bit. So definitely the Neo would not be something for you. The M5 Air might be enough, but the M5 Pro would be faster. So it's always that trade-off between, what are you doing with it? Is regular word processing and spreadsheets and web browsing and photos? Yeah, then the Air is fine. If you're doing 3D modeling or CAD or coding or AI work, then probably the MacBook Pro would be best. And then it just depends on how much storage you're using and how much extra you think you'll need.
All right, that's helpful.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have that problem. I have no money, but like I have the phone, and like I sit here in the hospital, and it's like it's hard to hold the phone for hours, and like there are things you can't do on a phone. Like if I want to write screenplays, it's hard to do on the mobile apps. There's some things you just need like computer software for. So like if I just want to I just want to be able to do stuff. I want to be able to like, write a screenplay or maybe, I don't know, maybe draw or do some just basic things, not heavy things, just set it down and not have to hold it, watch TV on it. I can do stuff on it, but like just minor stuff that I can do easily without holding it. Well, I'm stuck here months and months sitting here doing nothing. And it's like what's the absolute cheapest thing I could get just so I have like a computer that I could use as a computer?
Yeah, a lot of people start with the 349 iPad. It's got a much bigger screen than the phone. It's easy to add a keyboard or an easel. In fact, you might want to look into different easels you could set your phone on. So I do that with my iPad. I have a case that folds around into an easel, so I set it on my chest when I'm laying down in bed, and that's how I read it before I go to sleep. And that 350 iPad can do an awful lot before you move up to the $599 Neo, which comes with a keyboard. So the MacBook is a more general purpose computer. The iPad can do a lot more than the phone can, almost as much as the computer can, but because it has that bigger screen, it's a lot easier to use than the phone.
Right, but it's still mobile. It's still mobile software. So like if I want to write a screenplay and be able to download software, like I need a computer.
Well, a lot of that stuff exists for the iPad, and the same software that runs on the iPads run on the Apple silicon Macs. especially with OS 26, it turns your iPad basically into a Mac with the multi-windowing interface. But for traditional computers, then you'd start at the 599 Neo.
But can you download software onto the iPad?
Sure. There's millions
Real
of apps.
software?
Yeah, there's
I
millions of
mean,
apps in the App Store.
but I don't mean an app. I mean, I have the app like I use Fade In for screenwriting, but the mobile app is not nearly as has the features as the the computer software does, and like you can't do things from it that you it's like it's a tool to go with the full software version.
Right.
It's not a full software version.
Why don't
And
you just use the browser and log into Google Docs?
because that's also tricky on the small phone size.
Well, we're
Um,
talking iPad now.
right, moving up to the iPad, yeah. Final Draft has a full featured program for the iPad. What was the one you said you used?
Fade In.
Is that one word or two?
Um, Two, I guess.
Yeah, I found one called Scriptification, Final Draft, Writer Duet, Fade In Out, maybe. But with the iPad, especially the M series, can run all the software the Mac can, if the author allows it, and vice versa. You can load phone and iPad apps on your Mac now too, because it's all the same processor.
Yeah, everything except what I want to do.
I know Andy Anako uses Scrivener for all his writing, and loves it.
Yeah, there's lots of different um, programs. I like Fade In, and that's like I don't know. That's what I started using years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I like the way it works on the computer, and it does have the companion on the mobile version, so you can use uh, the iPad or iPhone, but it's a companion. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like then when I want to export something, I have to send it to my friend. Like, okay, here, will you export it so we can read it at the meeting? And I can't bother him like every time. I want to export something, and
Yep. Yeah. All right,
there's
Bob,
just
you had a question?
No, just wanted to
oh,
say good night. I
Alrighty.
gotta sign off. Be well.
All
Good
right.
night.
We'll see you next week at the board meeting.
Yep, I'll be there. Shirley was talking, but I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, she's
Really
muted.
muted.
I said, have a happy St. Patrick's Day.
Uh,
oh,
I'm trying to think of my Gaelic. I know some greetings. The one I know best is not appropriate. Hold on a thorn.
Bob, are you
Oh,
doing Q&A on Saturday or not?
No, after winter, sometime
Okay.
in the spring, I expect to resume.
Oh, in
Alrighty.
another 2 weeks, it'll be spring, so that means next
I
month
said
you'll be set.
sometime in the spring. I'm not saying first week.
Okay.
Okay. Be
All right,
well.
well, have a good night.
Buenas noches.
oh my God, I can't believe it's almost spring already. I've just spent winter looking out the window.
You didn't have to shovel. It's sometimes good.
Yeah, I got to see some pretty flurries go by and everything. But I forgot about St. Patrick's Day when I was thinking of what's the next. When is Easter?
April 5th.
April 5th. Oh,
They're coming
trying to,
fast.
yeah. Well, it's not like I can do anything. Like I can't bake cookies or anything. I was like, I'm just happy if I can hold my phone. But I'm like trying to do some drawings if I can. And it's like, what can I draw? What holiday's coming up? what fun colors and what fun things are there to do.
Oh, you gotta paint those bunnies
Bunny, bunny.
and those
Yeah,
shamrocks.
my friend, like, he painted half this picture and then gave it to me. He's like, okay, I did half, you paint, you draw the other half. Like, okay, that's cool. But doing this whole picture is like intimidating. And then a nurse said something the other day. She was like, here, why don't you draw me a picture and set it down? So my pencil's down. I'm like, you don't understand how much trouble I'm having just trying to draw anything for myself. But then I thought about it, like, you don't have to do full size. You could do like postcard, business card. I could do like little business card size drawings, and like hand them out to people, or just do little.
All right, folks. Well, it's after 10, so I'm going to sign off.
All right.
Uh-oh,
Thank you, Steve, and
Yep.
pumpkin.
everybody else. We'll see you next time.
Wait,
Sounds
it's
good.
not
Very good.
Halloween. It's not Halloween, Mr. Pumpkin.
All right. Well,
Ugh.
I guess the meeting's over. We'll end the meeting officially then, since it is 10:06. And for all the people on the board, we'll see you next week. Carol, I'll see you Friday around 2 o'clock. I should be able to get there at 2.
Well, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Okay, very good. Hopefully no more snow.
I'll draw something green.
Yep. All right.
Well, that's boring. Green is boring. It's just like grass.
That's right.
I,
We
I
need a
think
green.
I'll stick with Easter.
All right. Good night, all.
Have a
All
good
right.
night.
Good night.
night.
See you next week.